Hell yeah! What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Eagles Postgame Live. Today, we are reacting to arguably the most convincing win for the Eagles this season, 35-10 over the Tennessee Titans. We're talking top reactions. We're breaking down Jalen Hurts, all the above. Joining me, my man Al from Edge of Philly Sports. What's going on, Al?
Uh, who can't be happy right now? All we've been hearing I'm going to just go on a rant for a second. My prediction today was 34-17 Eagles, so I even like this better. Um, for the last few weeks now, even before the Washington game, we've been hearing people going, "Oh, they haven't played a real team yet. Oh, wait till they see the Titans. Oh, it's good. This team isn't legit." I'm done. I've had it. I'm tired with the disrespect. I am tired of it all. This team is legit as legit can come right now. You tell me one team that's better than us in the NFL, and you can try to say the Chiefs, and I can see where you mean with that. But outside of the Chiefs, really, even the Bills to me are not are not better than the Eagles right now. We beat you with our legs last week. We beat you with our through the air this week. We can beat you no matter what. Even the special teams look good this week. I mean, what the hell, man?
Yeah, there's so much to break down and talk about in this one. But again, the Eagles, because they haven't played anybody out, because that's all Eagles fans have heard over the
Oh my
last
god.
12 games here this season. In 4 games, the Eagles have played teams with a winning record of 500 or more. They are a plus 56. That's an average of 14 points they have won on average against these teams. The Eagles are absolutely legit. Quentin's in the house saying, what result do we want in the Washington and Giants game? As I got on here in Red Zone, it is 2020 in overtime. I want Washington to win. That's just my choice. What's
I mean,
your
is a tie? Yeah, the tie helps out us all. I mean,
yeah.
in this case, it gives them all half a win or whatever you want to call it. There's a little bit of a minute over and a minute and a half left. I mean, ultimately, I think you want Washington to win since Giants are a little closer to us in the seeding
Yeah.
in this case. But this will be a 2 straight losses for the Giants. So I don't know. Do you want the Giants coming in with a chip on their shoulder, 2 straight losses? Because I think ultimately next week's a bigger challenge than this week will be for us. So
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
get into that later.
All right, let's jump right in. You got to lead off with Jalen freaking Hurts, man. Let's go offense to defense to special teams. So many positives to break down in this one. Jalen Hurts finished this one 29 of 39. That 39 attempts is the most attempts he has had in 2022. I go back to 2021 when people were screaming because he was throwing too much. And everyone in the stadium, Eagles fans watching the games, was like, "Run the damn ball!" Here we are in 2022, week 13. Jalen Hurts throws the most attempts of the season and arguably has one of the best games of his career. 130.3 quarterback rating, 3 touchdowns. He did have another touchdown on the ground. Dude was absolutely in command of this offense yet again. I loved seeing some more creativity on offense, especially in the second half. We saw a lot more bunch sets. We saw a lot more Quez Watkins in this one, just like we did last week. We saw Jack Stoll have an imprint in this offense. There's a lot of just amazing pods. A.J. Brown coming back and doing A.J. Brown things, 8 receptions for 119 yards. But let's start with Jalen Hurts. How would you grade his game, and what is your reaction?
A plus. I mean, I don't know what else you say. 74% completion rate when you have 39 attempts, you can't beat that. He is like we've said it 1,000 times. I feel like it's kind of repetitive at this point, but he continually, and I mean continually, just shows poise in the pocket. Nothing seems to rattle him. The O line was struggling, which I know we're going to talk about shortly. He went over. You see him talking on the sideline. We heard how Jason Kelsey kind of handed the reins of this team over to him in the beginning of the season when they got off to a good start, and he said, "Here you go. This is your team now." And he's taken those reins and he's ran with it. So he continually surprises me, even in tight games or games like this. I was not on the Jalen Hurts train last year. I was a wait and see kind of guy with Jalen Hurts coming into this year. There's nothing more I need to see from Jalen Hurts at this point. I'm all about Jalen Hurts.
I know it's just week 13, but like this is exactly what you want to see. You want like the entire premise of 2022 is about Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, and Nick Sirianni trusting to put the ball in Jalen Hurts' arm and win you a football game with his arm, not his legs, with his arm. Again, 39 attempts in this one. If you watched us during the pregame, we talked about how we're going to see a lot more passing in this one because of the Titans are the number one rushing DVOA defense in the NFL. And man, it was just something special. That pass that he had to AJ Brown, like Quentin said, down that sideline, absolutely pinpoint perfect. He had another amazing throw to Devontae. I can't wait to like after this show make that Jalen Hurts highlight reel because he was sensational. Talk about carving up the Tennessee Titans on first downs. The Eagles had 148 passing yards on first downs. That's 7.4 yards per completion. They were absolutely dynamic. A lot of that went to AJ Brown. We even saw Grant Calcaterra with a 19-yard pass completion. Devontae Smith had some big moments in this one. It was just really this entire Eagles offense and their passing attack. How many guys had receptions in this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys had receptions in this Eagles offense, man. Is it nuts? This is nuts.
Actually 9. I think Boston Scott had one at the end of the game.
Okay. Yeah, it's just wild. Yams is in the house. What's going on, Yams says? I got a chubby looking at today's style. Oh my god!
Hey, Yams, I agree with you. That's why we do this job sitting down, brother. I mean, this is the games you listen. This is the games everybody expects because that was my problem with people going, oh well, if we're not beating them by 2 touchdowns, we're not doing a good job. You know what I mean? Even if a W is a W in my eyes, but this is the game that everybody wants. So yeah, I'm doing this job sitting down because of that reason, Yams.
Oh my god! All right, let's keep going. Some more comments, guys. Let us know if you're watching. What are your thoughts on this? Quentin says this was a statement game for Hurts' passing and for the defense. We're going to touch on the defense because there's so much to talk about on that side of the football, especially versus the run. Says Quentin. What are they going to say about the Birds now? Shaking my head. I agree, man. This team they've had a little bit of a down spell against some lesser competition, but when they need to rise up against good competition, they have done that. Again, they are a plus 56 against teams with a 500 or more record this season. Plus 56. That's 14 points a game. They win by 14 points a game against good competition this week. And you talk about the Titans, like this is like a playoff quality opponent. Like this is, you go back to that Tampa Bay game against in the playoffs when Jalen Hurts really struggled against the pressure, struggled against a team that was able to make them one-dimensional. You cannot make this Eagles team one-dimensional. They have proven that every single week.
No, and that's what they try. Listen, that's what we were last year. We were one-dimensional. That's why, no, I wasn't super high coming in on this team, thinking anything of the sorts coming into it, like with being 11-1 at this point. I thought we were going to be a good team, and we were going to be definitely, in the race, but I didn't think we were going to be this good. Because we were one-dimensional last year. We beat bad teams at the end of the year being one-dimensional. If you can't stop us with the run, Jalen can throw the ball just fine. I mean, let's talk about some of these catches. AJ Brown caught the ball getting bear hugged. I mean, like you can't complain about that. AJ Brown has a touchdown pass, gets called back because his toe was out an inch off the line. Don't worry, I'll get it back. I'll run you over, and I'll get that 40-yard touchdown back. You're welcome.
Yep, absolutely. Just a quick look. We'll get into AJ Brown in a second. Just a quick look at how dominant this Eagles offense was. They had 26 first downs. They had 15 more first downs than the Tennessee Titans. Total yards wise, they had more than double the amount of yards than the Titans, double the yards per play, almost triple the passing yards. They didn't beat them with yards on the ground, but wow, look at that. Yeah, we're going to get the defense in just a little bit, and we'll talk about penalties at the end of the show. We're not going to get to penalties here, but let's talk about AJ Brown. AJ Brown had 8 catches for 119 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had 10 targets. He was my player of the game during the pregame show. And everyone saw that coming. Everyone saw this kind of performance coming. But what was your reaction to AJ Brown?
Oh, he comes out and tries to play off it. I don't have a chip on my shoulder. I'm fine about it. No, you see him going out in the end zone, throwing his arms in the air, screaming at the fans. He had it. Listen, he's had 2 tough lost fumbles on us in the last 2 games prior to this, and he made it up. He knew he was doing something wrong, and that's what I love about this team. It's not just Jalen. They know, listen, I know this O-line is going to be kicking their own asses more than anybody else will be at the end of this game for all the knucklehead stuff that went on. But this is what this team does. They are not happy with anything they do. And if they make one mistake, they might as make 90 mistakes because that's how they feel about it. So he catches the ball, like I said, during a bear hug. He comes back and runs a man over to make up for the loss of a 40-yard touchdown. 8 receptions. If I told you AJ Brown had 8 receptions in the beginning of before the game happened, you'd be like, 8 receptions, that's it? Like, is that all you're going to get? Well, it's all he needed for almost 120 yards of offense and 2 TDs. So if you're not happy with A.J. Brown, the only people who should be unhappy with A.J. Brown are the Tennessee Titans and the people. That's the only thing I can think of.
A.J. Brown got his 9th touchdown of the season. He's almost at 10 already, which is absolutely crazy. This was his 3rd game of 100 yards or more. For AJ Brown. Let's go to some comments real quick. Quentin says, was Blankenship okay? I missed the first half. I believe so. He was out there making plays. I didn't see him come out.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing is they have 10 points on the game. So Blankenship did his job. You only heard him call once. He broke up a pass play. In this case, it's better off not hearing his name than hearing his name because a guy with his youth and inexperience, it's going to usually not be always good stuff calling out. But no, he had a good game. Listen, everybody in that secondary had a good game. Bradbury, he could definitely make anybody's defensive player, one of the defensive player of the games. He almost had that pick. He broke up a lot of big pass plays, and he had a nice hit on Derrick Henry and slowed him down a couple times.
Yeah. All right, we're going to throw it to defense in 1 second.
Yeah.
Yam says, I'm waiting to see what BS Nick Wright says. Who cares about Nick Wright, man? Come on.
Yeah.
Quentin says,
clickbait.
Yeah, exactly. Quinn says, Fumble Batman had a great game. Absolutely.
Did he earn the Swole Batman moniker back after today?
I think so.
Okay.
This was a huge game. A huge game for Devontae Smith. We need to talk about Devontae Smith real quick. 5 receptions on 8 targets, 102 yards and a touchdown. A lot of that was in the first quarter, first half of this one. He was definitely vibing with Jalen Hurts from the jump. What was your take on Devontae Smith?
Well, listen, you knew the Titans knew AJ Brown inside and out. He's been there. He thought he was going to be a Titan for the rest of his life. Obviously, that didn't happen out. Has a little chip on his shoulder. But so what do you do next? You go to your number 2 guy. Devontae Smith was there, and he was playing what a number 2 does when your number 1 was being, was being targeted the whole time. But then they had no choice. They couldn't stop him. They couldn't stop either one of them. Devontae Smith, 100+ yards after, AJ Brown was going to be the talk of the town right now. But just because he had a couple less yards and 1 less TD, it doesn't get. 3 TDs between the both of them. 220 yards between the both of them. If you're not happy with, and that's only in 13 receptions between the both of them, you cannot be happy with that.
Absolutely right, man. And then we get to offensive line. They gave up 2 sacks on the day, just 3 quarterback hits. Offensive line, another terrific game in pass protection. Let's roll on to this defense because I want to talk about Jonathan Gannon, who gets killed again and again and again. Jonathan Gannon held the Titans to just 87 yards on 4.1 attempts per carry. Derrick Henry only had 2.7 attempts on the game here on just 11 carries. We talked about this during the pregame show, and they did it. They started out fast, even though it was sloppy. They were able to kind of take out Derrick Henry in this game and make them rely on the passing game, and it was extremely effective. Where they were most effective, though, this Eagles team was especially on first down and third down. Let's look at first down. The Eagles held Derrick Henry on just 22 yards on 8 carries. That is 2.7 yards per carry on first down. They absolutely took him out on first down, made those second and third downs much more easy for this Eagles defense. And then when you get to third down, they were ridiculous. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sacks on third down.
5 of the 6 sacks came from that, yeah.
On third down, big moments. Javon Hargrave, Fletcher Cox, Josh Sweat, and then you had a pair of Reddick and Josh Sweat sacks. Josh Sweat was everywhere in this one, and that was a guy I talked heavily about during the pregame show as well. Yem says, I like Blankenship, but let's just talk about quick reaction to the Eagles defense. Time's yours.
Well, I mean, you hold Derrick Henry to 30 yards, you can't be, you know they did their job. I mean, for a team that gets roasted week in and week out for being not good against the run, well, they did well. I mean, I put a lot of it on having Jordan Davis back, which hopefully we hear something about him shortly. What's going on with him?
Yeah.
Hopefully it's just maybe he was still a little sore, not ready to come back 100%. But then you add Sue and Joseph, and they are just doing what they came in here to do, to make us a better pass protection type game. I mean, a pass defense type team. And they are doing that exactly. The secondary, with all their injuries, you will not be seeing C.J. Gardner-Johnson back until January 1st or 2nd or whatever. He's on the injured list now. So, and you got guys like Blankenship who step up. This team held a Titans team who isn't a hugely offensive explosive team, but have the ability to do so and shut them down.
Yeah. You know what makes me happy? I'm going like all over the place here, but let me just share my screen real quick. This is pretty freaking awesome. Let me scroll down all the way down. What stands out to you right there? Look at my boy, Nakobe Dean.
Oh yes.
On top of the Eagles tackle list there with 6 total tackles and then tackles for loss. He made an impression on special teams. Nakobe Dean getting some snaps. I guess we'll go to Jordan Davis after this. But it was really refreshing to see Nakobe Dean out there in midnight green.
It was, and I know there's a lot of people who may say Nakobe Dean or think, what would have been, he was supposed to be a first round pick. Why isn't he playing already? Well, guess what? He might have just earned himself some time, and let's see how, special teams needed a pickup. They got a pickup. And now, hopefully, this gives him a couple chances to get some more snaps down the line. And I think you will see him maybe a little next week, definitely against Chicago.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Steven says Nakobe earned the right for this defensive playbook to be extended, to include him more often or flat out start. I absolutely agree. Steven says Britton Covey was better. We're going to get to special teams at the end, but my goodness, Covey had the game of his life. The game of his life today, even though it was probably just an average game, but that's enough for me.
That's all we can ask for. I mean, that's been last week that almost killed us. I mean, let's be honest. That game, that Green Bay game was a lot closer than it should have been, and a lot of it had to do with field positioning and Aaron Rodgers because of special teams. That's all we ask for. I'm not asking for a guy who can return the ball on a blink of an eye. I'm just looking for guys who don't make stupid mistakes and keep us in good field position. That's all. And Covey did it.
Yep. Quentin says our punt return has been had so much space. I fully agree. Walter's in the house. What's going on, Walter? Thanks for joining. Says great job defending against the run. Offense goes to the pass and does great. If you watched our game show, we talked about should the Eagles pass more on first downs against this Tennessee Titans team, and they did. And they had nearly 150 yards. Over 7 yards per reception. They were absolutely dominant. But let's talk about this defense. The pass rush was insane. Ryan Tannehill had no shot. Barely finished this game. The Eagles finished the game with 6 sacks, 5 tackles for losses, They had 6 passes defended and defense and 9 quarterback hits, led by Josh Sweat, who had 2 sacks, and everyone else was just feast or famine. Like everyone was just swarming Ryan Tannehill, especially on those passing situations. Just quick thoughts from you on the Eagles pass rush today, man.
Amazing. I mean, just I don't know what else to say, but amazing. This team. Listen, I always felt like we did give up a lot, but not we. It was kind of a bend don't break with this team for a long time. We never really broke on it, but we bet a lot, and it made some guys' numbers look good. Today we shut down one of the premier backs in the league, held him to 30 yards, no points scored on that. You forced Tannehill to throw the ball to an okay, receiver core, and that's exactly what this team should have done. And I actually, like I said, I had them getting 17 points because I thought maybe Derrick Henry was good for at least one touchdown and about 75 to 80 yards. They blew expectations out of the water. And if this continues, this team just got scarier.
It really did. Like, I just vividly remember going back like 4 weeks, 5 weeks, especially after that Jordan Davis injury, and circling this game on my calendar and being like, "Oh shit! Like, how are we going to stop that Tennessee Titans rushing attack?" And fast forward to now, and I think what we have seen is not just Howie Roseman adding Sue and Joseph, two amazing run defenders to this roster, but we have seen Jonathan Gannon truly adjust to the strength of this team. And what that means is we've seen so much more stacked boxes. He's been adjusting. He's been stacking the box. We've seen a lot of blitzes during run situations. I've been just so impressed by Jonathan Gannon, even though there have been moments like during certain third down situations when he plays way too off the line. And he definitely is that bend don't break at times that we love and hate about Jonathan Gannon. But my goodness, I hope Jordan Davis is okay. I haven't heard anything regarding the injury. I know he was hobbling a little bit in this one. But again, the Eagles held Derrick Henry to 2.7 yards per carry. He had a long of 6, dude.
Yeah.
He was nothing. Like this,
yeah.
this is a Titans team that prides itself at getting into that second level. You didn't see any of that other than Ryan Tannehill. Who the hell cares?
They wasted more money flying him out here to Philly than playing him. I mean, it was ridiculous how they shut him down. And like I said, this team going forward has not gotten any love or not enough love, especially from the national media, but even a lot of local people. Like people just can't. I know we're a little bitter, Philadelphia, Negadelphia, and all that stuff. But guys, if you really want to jump on the horse, jump on now. This is the time to ride. This team looks poised. They don't, and like I said before, they don't look like they're happy. They don't look like they're happy with today. Like this isn't enough for them. This is good. Enjoy this victory, but come tomorrow, we got work to do. We got the Giants, and we got to keep them in the rearview mirror.
Yep. Again, held the Titans to 4 of 14 on third down. 0 of 2 in the red zone. That's been truly the Achilles heel of the Titans the last couple of weeks. They have been struggle bus when it comes to red zone offense. Again, the Eagles had how many sacks today? 6 sacks, 9 quarterback hits. Josh Sweat had 2. Javon Hargrave continues his amazing season. He had 1. Fletcher Cox had another moment. I feel like Fletcher Cox is just getting better and better over these last few weeks. Like the less snaps, the better. He's like the George Niang of the Eagles squad. Like sometimes less is more, and we're seeing him just be more fresh. And it's amazing how our run defense went from a weakness to a strength in just a matter of just a few weeks, whether that's Jonathan Gannon adjusting to the personnel and Howie making some moves, just like we saw the cornerback position with the addition of James Bradbury, who was outstanding in this one.
Yeah, and I think it was the moves that brought Linval Joseph and Don McCann into this team. It was there was 2 good pieces that you could bring in. It helps in so many levels. It helps that pass or the run defense. And on top of it, it gives guys like Fletcher Cox, who are getting, long in the tooth here, and gives them that break and allows them, just like we saw in 2017, fresh legs on the field, guys banging bodies in there. Because if not, let's think about it. If Fletcher's playing almost every snap and he's getting banged around by a guy like Derrick Henry, that third quarter he would have been sucking wind.
Absolutely agree. Steve says, did Davis play after he limped off? I'm not sure. I'm going to be watching the tape as soon as I get off here, as I always do. Quinn says, Washington and Giants ended in a tie. I didn't even realize that. They kind of cut. I'm watching Red Zone here. They kind of cut to Bengals Chiefs. That's okay. So that makes things interesting.
Well, Fox did the same thing. They had the game on, and I missed it and blinked, and then they went to all the interviews with Jalen and all the players in Philly. But yeah, I mean, I guess a tie is the best thing for us at this point. I mean, for us, I mean, for Dallas and the rest of the people chasing New York, doesn't help them. But yeah, hey, listen, I would take it. I'd take it any day of the week.
Absolutely. Kumar says, I was in the pregame show because I forgot since the game was over in quarter 3. All those numbers I gave you, I stopped counting like midway through the fourth quarter when the game was over. It was just basically garbage time. Steven says, I think we win with either Hurts or Minshew. I don't think it matters. Stout and Sykin would adapt to it. It's kind of weird. Like, yeah. I'm in the same agreement, Steven. Like, let Dallas Goedert heal, man. Let him rest. We'll see you when you get back. But what I've seen from Steichen, what I've seen from Gannon, and their ability to adjust over these last few weeks is extremely promising.
I mean, Dallas was on the record saying that he even said Howie made a mistake in putting me on the IL because he said he's ready to return now. So that means Dallas is ready to go next week. I never thought those words would come out of my mouth with being happy, but the Dallas Goedert will be ready to go next week against the New York team, who we're about to hit on the road. 3 games in a row. You got Giants, Chicago, and Dallas. Everybody keeps looking at that Dallas. They talked about the Dallas Eagles showdown on Christmas Eve about 1,000 times. Let's just get there first, people, and enjoy this ride the whole time.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to like bitch and moan about. We need Dallas Goedert back when you've put up 75 points the last 2 weeks on offense. Third down wise, they were 3 of 11. That's not exactly great, and that's where you really miss Dallas Goedert and those RPOs, and that's a big part of Dallas Goedert's game. But kudos again. Calcaterra had it. This is by far the game we saw of the tight end stepping up. Calcaterra had a big reception. Jack Stoll had a couple big receptions. Kudos to those guys for making a big impact in this one. Steven says the first half of this game was like the hot girl you kept thinking you could get. You got blue balls for a year, and then out of the blue, poof, you're out of the friend zone. You're that boy.
I don't even know to go with that. Steve, that's the best comparison. That is the comment of the show. I don't know how anybody else would be able to catch up with that one. I know the sad fact is I know exactly what he's saying, but yeah, I get it, my friend. That's how it felt at the end. Eagles fans and the Eagles themselves should be hanging their heads up high. They should be pounding their chest, just like teams that, just like Washington did when they beat us. They pounded their chest like they won the Super Bowl. So
that's insane. That is a great comment, Steven. Quinn agree. Yeah, backup tight ends made some plays, man. That's what we needed. We just needed that little bit. Didn't even think of Dallas Goedert today. That's quite an achievement. And who finally bullied Brayton Covey into taking back returns? Let's go into special teams. Because Brayton Covey, did he have 100 yards returning?
He had 106 yards for 6 returns. It's 17.7 yards per average on there. So what? I think somebody grabbed him by the pads after last week's game and said, "Listen, bro, you're not going to have a job. You're going to be jobless. Your football career is about to be over. Nobody's picking you up. So either come up, show up, be ready to play, or don't be here at all."
Yep. I mean, what a difference a week or a few like this week makes, because you look at Britton Covey had nearly 20 yards per return. On the opposite end, special teams wise, they only had 10 yards per return. Saw several big hits from the Eagles special teams, but let's talk about Britton Covey, because that guy has been killed in recent weeks. Let me turn that off. He has been killed over recent weeks for special teams. Um, is this like the game that gets him going in the right direction, or is this just kind of a flash in the pan?
I think this is a game that gets him going because nobody's like really like special teams wise. Nobody showed me that they could oh, they're so good on special teams. We would never be able to go good against them. Like I don't like I said, he doesn't have to give me 17 yards of return. I'll take it. Just just return the ball. Don't fumble it. Return the ball and keep us in good field position. And that's all I ask.
Quentin says, correction, his name is Britton Primetime Kobe. Oh my God. That's so great. Yeah, it's just what a game from the Eagles special teams. Much better than, of course, arguably the best of the season. Should we talk about penalties?
Real quick, I think Boston Scott goes under a radar a little bit on the kick return. Or the punt returns. I mean, he was 2 for 37, so that's 18 and a half yards of return. So, I mean, I think that was a good move putting him in there and letting him get a little more action because, let's be honest, he's not playing much to begin with.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely agree. Let's get into these penalties because it was really crazy at a point, especially in the first quarter. The first quarter, they had more penalties in the first quarter than they did on average in an entire game. They ended this one with 12 penalties for 80 yards. At one point, like very close. Hold on, I'm getting a phone call. At one point, I was very close to just turning the game off because I can't stand penalties. There were some really bad calls, roughing the passer calls on the Titans. There were some even worse calls being called on like the Jason Kelsey holding call. It was just over and over and over. So many bad calls, also false starts, and this was the false start game, right?
Yeah, like I don't know if it was like a discipline issue or they practiced something that wasn't going according to what they did in the preseason or in the week leading up to it. It's just I'm not like super worried about it because like this is something they'll fix. Like it obviously didn't hurt us. I mean, it's so hard to complain about a 35-10 victory and talk about, but it has to be talked about. And each offensive lineman had a false start call. The Jason Kelsey, that was the worst call I've ever. I mean, listen, the Titans got some bad calls too. I gotta give them, that roughing the passer on Jalen Hurts. The one, not the first one, we made helmet to helmet contact. That was totally. But the second one was a little bit kind of BS. If it was the other way around, I'd probably be yelling about it. But the Jason Kelsey one, the guy fell forward and he went to hit him, but like completely whiffed on him. Like, where did he hold? I can't. Like he fell forward. I don't understand where you call the hold.
I have no idea. Like there was a point in this game, especially in that second quarter, where like the refs just completely lost control of this game. They were just throwing flags, and I hate complaining about the refs, but it is what it is. Like there's no way around.
It does taint the game, though. It taints the game.
It does. There was a lot of bad calls. Steven says, is Sirianni the first head coach to bring his kids to every post game? I don't know, man. I miss those. I'm doing this, so I'm not ever watching post game anymore. I'm watching Red Zone on my TV. But that's really
I don't know, but I just love his I don't give a shit mentality. I'm gonna bring my kids with me, like it or not. Like I don't even think he asks. As long as they're winning, I'm sure they wouldn't say anything. I'm sure Howie's not going, hey, Nick, can you stop bringing your kids to the post game? Hey, keep winning, do whatever. Bring the whole family. I don't care.
Exactly. All right. So let's get into player of the game. I sent out a request. Can we pick two each? Because there's so many. There's so many. And I'm going to throw it to you, man. You lead us off. How about we do this? You go. Should we do it snake style? Like you go, then I get two? Because we can't pick the same one. We have to each. Yes. All right. Do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
You tell me. I'm cool with that.
No, you go first.
I'll go first.
All right, you go first.
I'll go first. I'm gonna go as a guy who loves defense. I'm gonna go Josh Sweat on this one. Two tackles, 2 assists, two sacks. I mean, the guy, and every week gets it better. Like his name came up a lot until he was out for a part of the game against Green Bay. His name keeps getting called more and more, all for good reasons. I think Josh Sweat is going to turn out to be like our defensive stud by the end of this season and probably going into next season. So Josh Sweat is mine.
You suck, man. That was going to be
I
my
know.
number one.
Sorry.
That really sucks. And I agree, Quentin. Quentin, we're on the same wavelength as always. My number one player of the game is not a player; it is Jonathan Gannon. 8 of 12 games this season, the Eagles have held their opponent to 17 points or less. This defense is getting on the right track, and if this run defense, how bad it was just a few weeks ago to now, and we're talking about an elite run defense with how good their pass defense is, there are puzzle pieces being put on the table of an elite defense, a truly elite defense. So Jonathan Gannon is my player of the game in this one. Held the Titans to just 10 points.
And I like the fact that he's dressing up plays, disguising plays. Things were very vanilla. I think that would really irked people. You could see it coming a mile away, even though we had the right defensive players to work that kind of scheme. But I like over the last couple of weeks, he's really dressed things up, blitz guys in different positions that he normally wouldn't in different moments. So I give you a lot of credit on that one too, Quentin.
All right, and I mean, should I give you the layup? I don't even know. I'll go Jalen Hurts. I'll go Jalen Hurts in this one, and I'll put out a poll: who had the better player of the games? Okay. Was it Al's player of the game or is it my player of the game? I'm going Jonathan Gannon, and I'm going Jalen Hurts. 380 yards, 3 touchdowns, a touchdown on the ground, countless 100-plus quarterback rating games this season. I mean, Jalen Hurts continues to show how much he has improved every single week. And the thing about this game that I'll remember is going up against a top-notch run defense. And this is so critical when it comes to that next contract. It's so critical when it comes to the Eagles winning a tough playoff matchup. The Eagles' ability to win with the pass. Win with the pass. The passes, the throws that Jalen Hurts made, that, especially that one to A.J. Brown down the sideline, we have seen that again and again and again this season. And I'm just continually impressed by Jalen Hurts' ability, throwing the ball 10, 20 yards or more, continuing to grow inside that pocket, hit his spots, hit guys on timing routes, and really just respond to pressure and blitz and staying in that pocket rather than tuck and run has just been incredible. Jalen Hurts had arguably his best game of the season in this one. And again, why I'm so impressed is because this is all about evaluating Hurts and his ability to win you a huge game with his arm, and he did that. So I'm going Jonathan Gannon, Jalen Hurts, and I'm sorry, but you lost.
All right. Well, I mean, some people. Listen. Yes, you might be right, but the fact that the former Tennessee Titan was the Tennessee Titan killer in this one, so called a clash of the Titans. But A.J. Brown is my other player of the game. 119 yards, over almost 15 yards average, 2 TDs. And I mean, not just the fact of the stats, but the fact that the way he caught some of these, like I said, the bear hug catch was amazing. The fact that he loses out on a 40-yard touchdown pass because of a pinky toe being out on the line, and he gets it back by steamrolling a former teammate. I mean, come on, man. I mean, Jalen Hurts, yeah, but A.J. Brown, chip on his shoulder, both shoulders, and he knocked the chip right off by knocking out one of his players. So my other player will be A.J. Brown. So it might be a little tough competition.
I love it. All right. That very worthy. A.J. Brown was sensational. That's so big for getting him back on track. There was a stretch in this season where he was utterly dominant, and it's not been the case because of various reasons. But it's good to see him back. Steven says, I think Gannon's guiding principle is in such fear of the big play that he finally gets aggressive when he sees. But, dude, the Eagles' blitz percentage has been significantly up compared to last year. You look at the last few weeks, The amount of stacks we have seen from this guy, the blitzing against the run, the timely blitzes on passing situations on third and long. Gannon is adjusting. Even when it doesn't work out, he is adjusting, which is really all I want to see. So just not shout out to Jonathan Gannon, because that's a guy I've killed on this show so many times. So I'll put that on Twitter and I'll put that on YouTube as well to see who has had the better player of the game choices in this one. So go vote at the Painted Lines. Is it what's your Twitter account? Edge of Philly?
At EOP Sports, or I'll also tweet it out of mine at Big Al EOP.
Absolutely awesome, and we'll talk some shit there. All right,
absolutely.
Where do we go from here, Al? We've talked
Grades?
about offense. We've talked about special teams, defense. Let's grade this win. How would you grade this win?
The overall win, I mean, it's an A. I mean, if you want to give the win everything, I'll go right down the line. Offense is an A. If it wasn't for all those stupid penalties, it'd probably be an A plus. The defense was an A plus. I mean, you got 6 sacks on the game against a good offensive line. B plus on the special teams. So overall, I got to give it an A.
Yeah, I think you're a pinpoint on that. Even though like the amount of false starts and stuff across the Eagles' offensive line, like no part of me was nervous about this game. Like they were putting up major yards offensively. They just kept literally shooting themselves in the foot. I'll go A. Defense, I'm going to go A plus. I think this is one of their best performances of the year. What we want to see is exactly what we saw. Is the Eagles pass rush getting home, the 4-man rush, the blitzes extremely effective today, led by Josh Sweat, and then special teams. I mean, it was probably like a B plus, but like in Eagles verse, it felt like an A plus.
Yeah, right.
That's how refreshing it was. I'm going to give it overall an A across the board. Just absolutely terrific. Steven says that's a legit tackle by Marcus Epps, and then call. He got the shoulder in there to the chest and to the head. Intent was incidental. Was that? I think that was the Treylon Burks hit, right?
That was the Burks hit. Now, Steven, I'll break it down for you. It's just this day and age in the NFL. That's just how it is. If you hit a guy in the head, and what they would deem as a defenseless receiver, the guy was coming down. He was trying to go for the big hit to knock the ball out of his hand. We all know what he was trying to do. The intent was definitely not there. But once you hit the guy in the head, they're going to call it almost immediately, unfortunately. And, you forget that there was shows on ESPN that was like, around these big hits. That would have been
up.
that would have been a highlight reel at best on that show. But this is this day and age, NFL, and if you hit a guy in the head and if he's down like that, they're going to call it 90% of the time.
Yeah, it's such a soft league, man. It is what it is. Kumar says the Jalen Hurts roughing was a soft call. It was a horrible call. If I was a Titans fan, I'd be flipping tables. That was a terrible call. And there were just tons of different things like that throughout this game. It was honestly one of those games that I'm just happy that we got out of this one not hurt. Like it was such a sloppy game, especially the way it started. There was just so much chaos on the field. So much like the Eagles were dominating the Titans, but there was just like an element of chaos that I just didn't want anyone to get like a season-ending injury or some stupid stuff there. Steven says the juice is worth the squeeze on the upset. It did take.
I like the hit. I like the aggression. I like what he was doing. He was going for the ball. Like I said, he wasn't trying to take a guy out of the game or hurt anybody in that sort of way. He was just doing what he did. He was doing. He saw the catch being made, and he's like, "I'm going to put a hit on this guy and see if we can pop that ball right out of his hands." Because that's what he was aiming for. I mean, it is what it is. But I mean, like I said, overall, you have to be happy with this team. And you know what I like? I like the fact that even though we have a 35-10 win, Jeff Stoutland's going to be knocking tables over, telling him to stop making Christmas CDs. I'm sure. Get back to it. Listen, we all look up at Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson and sit there and go, oh my God, these monsters. There's nobody in the world that scares these men. His name's Jeff Stoutland. Okay. That's who scares them. And it's like this father figure. They don't want to let him down. Like they'd rather get beat up by 20 dudes than let down and hurt the feelings of just Statland. And by the way, one thing I did see on the broadcast today, I need me one of those Statland University T-shirts. I need one of those T-shirts right away.
He's the most underrated coach in football, no question. The juice is worth the squeeze of the on the upset. Kind of gives me that Dawkins vibe against LG Crumpler in the playoffs. If you remember that, like that was just such a statement hit. And you look at this Titans team; they're arguably the most physical team in the NFL. They want to out physical you in every single level of football. And as much as that hit sucks for Epps and that flag, but it did make a statement, no question about it. Kumar says, how is the schedule toughness forward? Good thing you asked. Let's look at it. You have New York in New York on Sunday at Walk, at Chicago, and then at Dallas on Christmas Eve, which everything is boiling down to that Christmas Eve showdown, man. That is going to be insane, but it's not the most difficult schedule, but you've got back-to-back-to-back games on the road. They're 11-1, but there's no sure things in the NFL, right?
Yeah, I mean you can't complain about toughness. I mean, looking at it, you got three divisional out of the five, so that makes it a little difficult. Three of them being on the road, so toughness. I got to give it. It's a fairly tough sledding. If you beat the Giants tomorrow on Sunday, next Sunday, I feel a lot. I feel a lot better about going forward. In the sense that last Giants game could mean absolutely nothing to us, depending on what's going on. Chicago does not scare me in the least bit. Being away, being on the second game on the road, I listen. It plays in Dallas's favor a little bit because I see us winning against the Giants. I see us winning against Chicago, no problem. I don't know how much gas is going to be in the tank being on December 24th. This team wanting to go home to their family and all that, being away from their family. So they're going to play very angrily, but it is Dallas Eagles in a primetime 4:25 Christmas Eve showdown. So that means all you and your family are going to be around the table, eating your Christmas Eve dinner, drinking your beers, having a good time. It's going to be nuts. So honestly, I would not be surprised if they run the table here. I would, unless they just don't have to play against the Saints of New York and Minshew and them going there and they drop a game. I don't know. I can see it.
I'm already worried about that, like pregame and postgame, because that's like the biggest drinking holiday of the year for my family.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to survive that. Like my anxiety and Christmas Eve and Christmas and everything. That's going to be insane night.
Yeah. We'll have to have a little meeting and talk that one out. We have to figure that all out. There's going to be that post-game show will be a lot of angry wives,
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that definitely changes so much when it comes to like traditions and things like that. I'm not ready to say 16-1. I think there will be some bumps and bruises along the way, but we'll see. We will see. All right. We have talked about grades. We've talked about player of the game. Why does AJ Brown look cross-eyed? Right? Yes, he had a broken blood vessel in his eye. Yeah. He was really sick and he was throwing up so much he popped the blood vessel a couple weeks ago. So there's that. And we had no fumbles from AJ Brown. There's a win. All right. Plugs. Time is yours, man. What do you got going on there over at Edge of Philly Sports?
As you know, here between us and between the Painted Lines, Edge of Philly Sports, there's always something going on every day. The schedule's out, and we are busy going forward. But check out eopsports.com. I'll have my article out pretty much as soon as this show is over. I just got to hit the check and send button. We'll be good to go. So you can check out eopsports.com, and we're all on your major Facebook, YouTube, always putting out new content every day, along with the Painted Lines. So it's been a great partnership between the two of us. It's just going to get better into the new year.
Absolutely. This is going to be a fun ride, man. This is going to be like, oh my God, like that Christmas Eve game against Dallas. Just oh my gosh. It's going to
be. I'm going to do a little Nostradamus for you. I'm going to tell you right now, the team up of EOP and TPL will be like the best draft coverage, bar none.
There's no question. There's no
No
question.
question.
There's no question. So speaking of that, I've got tight ends, running backs, cornerbacks. I did preseason rankings, but this is my pre-combine rankings of tight ends, running backs. Where are we at? Edge rushers, interior defensive linemen, and something else, I'm sure. Tight ends, I don't know. But those are all out there. Please let me know your thoughts. It's a really – those 5 classes are absolutely terrific. This draft for the Eagles is 100% setting up so perfectly for their positions of need. If you look at this upcoming Jalen Hurts contract extension, you look at the amount of players that are going to be free agents, especially on that defensive line and so forth, like trade down, reinvigorate this team with young players. That's what I would do with that Saints pick. I would trade down. I would find a team that wants a quarterback like Will Levis, like CJ Stroud, and just load up with draft picks because it's deep. Like day 1, day 2, of all those positions I just named, the safety position sucks. I'm not enjoying it as much. That'll be coming tomorrow. My safety rankings. So if you're looking to find a replacement over like Marcus Epps, it's probably not coming in this draft. It never in any draft, period, because that's how he does. But anyway, it'll happen. TBL, please make more Eagles videos and skip Sixers post game. No way, man.
Hey, listen, we do a Flyers post game show. We can't skip a Sixers post game show. So, yeah.
Steven, I saw your comment. Eric All a low key good pick for us if he falls due to injury. This is a tight end for Michigan. We'll see. He probably a day 3 pick, I would imagine. He's not going day 2, like you said in the comment. It's not happening.
I'll tell you right now, if we pick 3 picks in the first 2 rounds, one of them will be a right tackle of the future. The other one will be a tight end to go with Dallas Goedert because Dallas Goedert's getting older now. You just got to keep refreshing and keeping it fresh so they can continually be a good team throughout the coming years.
Yeah. I agree. I'm all aboard of that train. That makes so much sense for Howie to double down on a play for 2-3 years from now. And look at Juergens, look at Andre Diller, there's data to support
look
that.
Look at Dallas Goedert. I mean, he didn't come out right away. I mean, a little quicker than 3 years, but I mean, even Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years behind Brett Favre. Look how that turned out.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. Steven says, what happened to Amadeo? No, dude does a lot of content for Broads Media. I think that's how you say it, Broads.
Broads, yeah.
Yeah, Broads. Like he does that entire Twitter account. So he's busy, man. He's doing his own thing. He crushed it, but I think it got shut down, unfortunately. That sucks. I know about shut down social media accounts. There's nothing worse. Quinn says, or you make a few Thibault highlight. Stop it. Just stop. I don't have time, Quentin, anymore. Like
they're more like TikToks, not so much videos.
I used to have a job where I would work at 9 o'clock and I would wake up early and put out some of these Sixers highlight reels. I have a new job now, and that started in August where I have to be at work at 7:15. There's just not time to make Sixers highlight reels as much as I used to. I wish I did, but I will. We're gonna wrap it up here. We're getting off track. I will be making some Eagles highlight reels of Jalen Hurts, Nakobe Dean, 100%, Jordan Davis, all snaps, everything and all the above. So please keep a lookout for that. Follow my man on Twitter at Big Al EOP. Edge of Philly Sports, wherever you get your Philly sports content, EOPsports.com. Check them out on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, you name it. I am Dibs, Mr. Crockpot. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Eagles get the W again, 35-10. An impressive overall win despite the penalties. Eagles move on to 11-1, and it's looking good, man. For myself, for Big Al, stay awesome, everyone.